Fear is temporary. Regret is forever. Ladies and gentlemen, listen closely, because what I'm about to say may be the spark that changes the rest of your life. Every one of us has felt fear. The fear of failing, the fear of being judged, the fear of not being enough. Fear whispers in our ear at the very moment we stand on the edge of possibility. It tells us to step back, to stay comfortable, to stay small. And for a moment, sometimes for years, we listen. But here's the truth you must never forget. Fear is temporary. Regret is forever. Fear fades. It breaks apart the moment you take action. It dissolves the second you decide you are stronger than the voice trying to hold you back. Fear is a spark, short-lived, fleeting, powerless once confronted. But regret is a slow-burning fire. It stays. It lingers. It sits in your chest long after the opportunity is gone. Regret is the dream you never chased, the words you never said, the potential you never stepped into. Regret is the echo of what if that follows you for the rest of your life. Every time you choose fear over action, you plant a seed of regret. And one day, maybe years from now, you look back and realize that the pain you avoided in the moment was nothing compared to the pain of knowing you never tried. Think about it. The moments that shape us, the victories we celebrate, the stories we tell with pride, they all came from pushing through fear, not avoiding it. Fear is uncomfortable. It's meant to be. Growth is uncomfortable. Challenges are uncomfortable. But discomfort is the birthplace of strength. You are not supposed to glide effortlessly into the life you want. You are supposed to fight for it, step into it, grow into it. The greatest people in history felt fear. Every champion, every innovator, every hero had a moment where fear tried to stop them. The difference? They moved anyway. They endured a moment of fear to secure a lifetime of pride. So ask yourself right now, what opportunities are you running from because of fear? What dream have you buried under excuses? What version of yourself are you refusing to meet? Life will not wait for you to feel ready. Opportunities will not pause until your courage catches up. If something matters to you, if something pulls at your soul, you must move, even if your hands shake. Even if your heart races, even if fear screams at you to stop, because 10 seconds of courage can change your entire life. 10 seconds of bravery can open doors you never believed you could walk through. 10 seconds of choosing action over fear can save you from years, decades of regret. The truth is this: fear wants you to survive, but regret wants you to remember. Fear protects you from the unknown. Regret reminds you of the life you never lived, and you deserve better than that. You deserve the pride of knowing you tried. You deserve the freedom that comes from effort, not the chains that come from hesitation. You deserve the life that's waiting on the other side of fear. So the next time fear rises inside you, don't ask, "What if I fail?" Ask instead, "What if I never try?" Because failure hurts for a moment, but regret hurts for a lifetime. Stand up, step forward, do the thing that scares you. Take the risk, say the words, try the idea, begin the journey. Fear is temporary, but the pride of courage, the life built on bold decisions, the freedom of knowing you lived fully, that lasts forever. Too many people wait for the perfect moment. They wait for the fear to vanish, for the path to be clear, for the conditions to be ideal. But Perfection is a myth, a trap, a prison disguised as patience. If you wait for fear to disappear before you move, you will wait for the rest of your life. Fear doesn't leave first, action does. Confidence doesn't show up before you start, it grows as you step forward. Every great journey begins with a single decision. I will not let fear decide my future. When you look at those, you admire those who built something meaningful, who rose from nothing, who broke cycles, who transformed their lives. Remember this: they weren't fearless. They were simply unwilling to let fear write their story. They were ordinary people who made extraordinary choices. And the most extraordinary choice you can make is this: choose courage over comfort. Choose progress over perfection. Choose the future over your fear. Because every time you choose comfort, you lose a piece of your potential. Every time you choose hesitation, you lose a piece of your courage. And every time you choose fear, you gain a piece of regret. Regret grows quietly. It doesn't erupt like fear. It whispers. It waits. It returns in moments of silence, in late-night thoughts, in the stillness before sleep. It reminds you of what you could have done, but didn't. What you could have become, but never tried. And one day, when you're older and time has stolen the chances you once ignored, regret speaks louder than fear ever did. But right now, this moment, you are still in the window where action can rewrite everything. Fear may try to chain you, but the key is still in your hand. You have time, you have strength, you have potential, and you have a choice. Ask yourself, what would your life look like if you stopped negotiating with fear? What possibilities would open? What opportunities would you no longer run from? Who would you become? Imagine a life where you look back and say, I tried, I fought, I gave everything. That life is built one brave decision at a time. Courage isn't loud, it's consistent. It's waking up and choosing the harder path, because the harder path leads to greatness. It's stepping into the unknown, because the unknown is where transformation happens. And hear this clearly: you don't have to be fearless, you just have to be willing. Willing to act, willing to try, willing to confront the very thing that scares you. Because fear lasts seconds. Regret lasts a lifetime. But pride, the pride of knowing you lived without letting fear own you, lasts even longer. So stand tall, lift your head, take a breath, and walk toward the very thing you've been avoiding. The dream you want, it's behind your fear. The life you want, behind your fear. The strength, confidence, purpose, and joy you crave, all of it is waiting behind your fear. And fear is nothing more than a moment, a feeling, a temporary barrier standing in front of a permanent future. Break through it. Let courage guide you. Let purpose pull you. There comes a moment in every person's life when they must decide who they are going to be, not who their past says they are, not who their fears claim they are, not who others expect them to be, but who they choose to become. That moment is not tomorrow. It's not next year. It's right now, this very moment you're hearing my voice. Life is not asking you to be perfect. Life is asking you to be awake, to be bold, to be willing to stand in the discomfort that growth demands. Because the life you dream of will not show up on its knees begging you to accept it. It requires work. It requires resilience. It requires bravery that you might not even believe you have yet. But trust me, you do. You always have. And when you finally decide to stop letting fear dictate your direction, something incredible happens. Doors open, people appear. Opportunities you didn't even know existed reveal themselves. Life rewards courage in a way it will never reward caution. But don't misunderstand, this is not just about chasing dreams. This is about becoming the kind of person who no longer runs from themselves. Because fear is not the real enemy. Fear is only the test. The enemy is the quiet, creeping regret that forms when you refuse to take the test at all, when you leave a dream unexplored, when you silence your own potential, when you let the temporary feeling of fear win over the permanent pride of effort. But you are standing at the edge of something bigger than fear, something louder than doubt, something stronger than hesitation. You are standing at the edge of your next chapter. And maybe you don't feel ready. Maybe you think you need more time, more clarity, more confidence. But here's the secret. Readiness is not a requirement, movement is. Clarity comes from doing. Confidence comes from proving to yourself that you can. Strength comes from facing what scares you and realizing it couldn't stop you. You are capable of starting again. You are capable of rising from anything. You are capable of building a life so full, so meaningful, so powerful that your future self looks back and says, "Thank you for being brave when it hurt. Thank you for moving when it was hard." Because the pain of discipline is temporary. The sting of fear is temporary. The discomfort of the unknown is temporary. But the pride, the fulfillment, the legacy you leave behind, those are forever. You owe it to yourself not to live a life free of fear, but to live a life free of regret. You owe it to the child you once were, to the dreams you buried, to the future you want, to the potential you carry. So this is your call, your moment, your turning point. Stand up, step forward, and decide, once and for all, that fear will not write your story. Let your courage speak louder than your doubt. Let your actions speak louder than your excuses. Let your future speak louder than your fear. Because fear is temporary. Regret is forever. But courage, your courage, can outlive them both. Go, be bold, be relentless. Be the person who refused to settle. Be the one who chose to live fully, bravely, unapologetically. There's one more truth you need to hear, one that most people avoid because it forces them to confront themselves. Your biggest breakthroughs will come disguised as your biggest fears. The moments that terrify you the most are the moments that have the power to transform you the deepest. Not because fear is a barrier, but because fear is a compass. It points you toward the very areas of your life where growth is waiting. It exposes the parts of you that are ready to evolve. Think about it. The job you're scared to apply for, the conversation you're afraid to start, the dream you hesitate to chase because you're convinced you're not ready. That fear is not a warning, it's an invitation. An invitation to rise, an invitation to stretch, an invitation to become the version of yourself you've always known you could be. Because the person you are today cannot reach the life you want tomorrow without stepping into discomfort. You cannot stay the same and expect life to change. Growth requires sacrifice. It demands that you let go of the familiar so you can grab hold of the extraordinary. And yes, that will be uncomfortable. Yes, that will require courage. But discomfort is not a sign you're on the wrong path. It's proof you finally found the right one. Most people live a life of quiet caution. They stay safe, predictable, controlled. They never push their limits. They never challenge their beliefs. They never wander beyond the boundaries of what feels easy. And they call that living. But safety is not living. Comfort is not living. Avoiding fear is not living. It's existing. Nothing more. The people who truly feel alive, who wake up with energy, passion, purpose, and fire, those are the ones who dared to step into the unknown. They are the ones who confronted the storm instead of hiding from it. They refused to let fear shrink their life into something small, something predictable, something forgettable. And that's what I want for you, not a life that is safe, but a life that is yours. A life shaped by your choices, not your excuses. A life defined by your courage, not your avoidance. A life built through action, not hesitation. Because every time you step into your fear, your world expands. But every time you run from it, your world shrinks. Fear tries to convince you that playing small will keep you safe. But in truth, playing small only guarantees one thing: regret. Regret for the chances you didn't take. Regret for the life you didn't live. Regret for the person you never became. And nothing is heavier than the burden of wondering who you might have been if you had just been braver. So, let this be the moment you stop negotiating with your limitations. Let this be the moment you stop letting your doubts make decisions for you. Let this be the moment you draw a line in the sand and declare, I will not let fear steal another day of my life. You have survived everything you once feared. You have overcome challenges you thought would break you. You have grown through storms you didn't ask for but conquered anyway. You are stronger than you realize. More capable than you believe, closer to transformation than you think. All you have to do is move. One step, one choice, one moment of courage. Because fear is temporary, regret is forever. But your courage, your decision to rise, will echo through the rest of your life. There comes a point in every journey where the battle shifts from fighting the world to fighting yourself. Not your enemies, not your obstacles, not your circumstances, but the quiet war inside your mind. Because fear doesn't live out there, fear lives in here. And if you want to create a life you're proud of, you must learn to win the battles no one sees. The battle between your potential and your excuses, between your purpose and your comfort, between who you were and who you're meant to become. Most people lose that battle long before they even begin. Not because they're weak, but because they underestimate the strength of their own mind. They think fear is a wall, but it's not. Fear is a door. The problem is that most people never turn the handle. They see the fear, they feel the fear, and they assume that means stop. No, fear means go. Fear means grow. Fear means you're on the brink of something that matters. If it didn't matter, fear wouldn't show up. Your fear isn't trying to protect you from danger. It's trying to protect you from change. And yet, change is the one thing necessary for you to become who you're destined to be. Ask yourself right now, how many times have you talked yourself out of something that could have changed your life? How many times have you convinced yourself you weren't ready when deep down you knew you were just scared? How many times has fear made decisions you should have made with courage? And how long will you let that continue? Because there will come a day, maybe years from now, when you look back and realize that the pain of fear was nothing compared to the pain of, I never tried. You think fear hurts? Try living with regret. Try living with the knowledge that your life could have been more. but you chose less. But here's the beautiful, powerful truth. Your story is still unwritten. Your future is still open. Your courage can still rewrite everything. You don't need to erase the past. You need to outgrow it. You need to rise so high that your fear can no longer reach you. And you do that by taking action. Small, steady, relentless action. Because action is the antidote to fear. The moment you move, fear loses its grip. The moment you try, fear loses its power. The moment you step forward, even trembling, you become stronger than the force trying to hold you back. And once you experience that power, once you feel yourself break through a fear that once controlled you, your entire life shifts. You begin to see yourself differently, not as someone limited, but as someone unstoppable. Not as someone controlled by doubt, but as someone guided by purpose. This is your moment to rise above your hesitation, to silence the voice that says you can't, to drown out the doubt with the roar of your determination. Because fear is temporary, regret is forever. But bravery changes everything. Bravery builds legacies. Bravery creates opportunities. Bravery transforms ordinary lives into extraordinary stories. And your story, the one you were born to live, is waiting on the other side of your fear. So step into the unknown. Step into the possibility. Step into the life you've been holding back from. Let this be the chapter where everything changes. Let this be the moment where you stop shrinking and start expanding. Let this be the day you choose courage over comfort, purpose over fear, action over regret. Because this is your life, your chance, your one opportunity to create something meaningful. Fear is temporary. Regret is forever. But your courage, your refusal to settle, can last longer than both. You must understand this. Courage is not a moment. Courage is a lifestyle, a commitment, a decision you make every single day, even on the days when your hands shake and your voice trembles. Because fear doesn't disappear after one brave act. It comes back. It tests you. It knocks on your door, disguised as doubt, disguised as hesitation, disguised as the seductive comfort of staying the same. And every day, you have to decide whether you'll open the door to fear or walk past it toward your purpose. That's what separates those who simply dream from those who live their dreams. The dreamers wait to feel ready. The doers move while afraid. And because they move, they grow. And because they grow, they succeed. Your life will never rise above the level of your courage. You cannot build a powerful future with a fearful mindset. You cannot claim a bold destiny with timid actions. And if you're waiting for someone to rescue you from your fear, stop waiting. No one is coming. Not because people don't care, but because some battles are designed for your hands alone. Some breakthroughs require your courage, your grit, your relentless determination. You cannot outsource your becoming. You cannot delegate your destiny. You cannot hand someone else the responsibility to build the life you want. This is on you. This is your mountain, your climb, your victory waiting at the summit. And yes, it will be hard. Anything meaningful is, but the hardness is what makes it worth it. The struggle is what sharpens you. The challenge is what forges your strength. The version of you that lives on the other side of fear is not soft. They are powerful, grounded, unshakable, built through effort, molded through discipline and strengthened through every courageous step you took when fear begged you to turn around. Every regret starts with a moment of hesitation. Every victory starts with a moment of courage. That's the difference between the life you settle for and the life you're capable of living. So look at your life right now. What goals have you been postponing? What dreams have you been ignoring? What chapters have you been too afraid to write? Because fear will give you 1,000 reasons to wait. Fear will offer you excuses that sound logical, reasonable, comfortable. Fear will convince you that tomorrow is a safer bet than today. But tomorrow is a trap. Tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next year. Next year becomes a decade. And a decade becomes regret. You don't need more time. You need more courage. And courage is not found, it's created. It grows every time you act despite fear. It strengthens every time you dare to move forward when doubt is shouting in your ear. So today, right now, make a decision that fear will no longer be your guide. Your guide will be your purpose. Your guide will be your future. Your guide will be the voice inside you that knows you're meant for more. Because you are. You always have been. Fear is temporary. Regret is forever. But your courage, your choice to rise again and again can change the entire trajectory of your life. So rise, push, pursue, persist, become, evolve. This is your journey. This is your awakening. This is the chapter where the old you steps aside and the unstoppable you steps forward.